Let's begin. What we're going to do first is, this will be nice level set for you. We're going to go through a background on Xorcom, the product lines, and give you a little intro, get you started thinking about the Xorcom products and where we're at. By the way, this is our 10th anniversary. This is our 10th anniversary logo. We've been celebrating it all year. We're very proud of where we've come and grown to. And so let's begin with Xorcom. So Xorcom provides, at the highest level, advanced ip-pbx solutions. They're powered by Asterix, the open source platform. Everyone in this room, I'm sure, is aware of that. And really one of the key strengths is it's a hybrid system. And what do we mean by that? We mean that it's hybrid in the sense that we support, of course, SIP trunking, voice over IP trunking, but as well, more of the traditional TDM environments as well. The analog lines, the copper lines, the PRIs, E1s, T1s, that type of environment. That's the strength of Xorcom. That combined, and that's on the hardware side, combined with the complete PBX offering, which you're going to be learning about this week. Okay? Further introduction to Xorcom. One of the things we like to point out is the accolades that we've received. I think everyone in this room knows that the IT Expo is this week as well. We do these certification classes in concert with the IT Expo. So you see we've won several Best of Show awards. Most recently, over here is our Blue Steel product. And most recently in January at the IT Expo, Blue Steel won a Best in Show. Okay? A little bit more background on Xorcom. Established, obviously, if we're 10 years old. We were established in 2004. Xorcom got its start really in the hardware side of the business, when Asterix was a little bit more of the Wild West, and they were needing a solid telephony platform. A few years ago, we saw the need for an integrated solution, and I'm going to talk about this several times during this brief presentation, but that's the genesis of Complete PBX, where our dealers, our customers, were asking for an integrated solution of hardware and software. And that's in fact what we did. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we progress. Okay, so award-winning, flexible, modular telephony solution based on XPP technology. What is that? That's our USB 2 interface. It's one of the things that Xorcom is known for. USB 2 is the interface to our channel banks, what we call our Astra banks. And it provides a very flexible, modular type system to integrate TDM type interfaces. As far as the ip-pbx line, there are 7 lines. We'll go through those on a subsequent slide. The 7 different lines for different and varying levels of number of ports, number of users, supported size of enterprise. Okay? We talked about our USB connected channel banks. We're also known for our property management system interface in the hospitality industry called Complete Concierge. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. And then, of course, someone mentioned, I think Michael did, multi-point video conferencing. So we now have an alliance with Surf, who is a video conferencing solution provider. It's a very tight alliance, and we're reselling the Orion MCU units. We will have a session on the Orion and the video conferencing capabilities that Xorcom now provides. Okay? So built-in reliability, it's one of the things, one of the hallmarks of Xorcom. We have built-in reliability with some of our high-end enterprise servers. We've talked about Blue Steel already. I call them very highly resilient servers. The Blue Steel, which is the CXT 3000, as well as our CXE 4000, our enterprise-grade server. And when I talk about reliability and resilience, I mean we have things like built-in hot swappable hard drives, hot swappable power supplies. So that's the level of resiliency, and I'm moving off camera, I'll get back in here, and reliability that we talk about. We also talk about TwinStar, and TwinStar is our high availability solution that pairs a primary redundant system that automatically switches. So when you're looking for a high availability environment, TwinStar is the way to go. We support rapid recovery for fast backup and restore, and finally redundant power supplies. Okay? And I'm moving quickly because we are going to touch on some of these later in this presentation. Okay? Distribution and OEM, we are now on 6 continents, over 95 countries. So we really have expanded the breadth and support of Xorcom internationally. And among our customers, you'll see customers represented in a variety of industries here. You notice Holiday Inn at the top, which is, of course, a hotel chain. So in that industry vertical, we have our property management system I already talked about with Complete Concierge. You see a variety of other industries represented. The point I wanted to make about this slide is with Xorcom, with our hardware and software offering with Complete PBX, what you have, in my mind, is the foundation. You have a foundation of a product that has a multitude of features and functions, and it's up to you, depending on the industries, the focus that your organization has, to apply that product, that Xorcom foundation, if you will, to different industry verticals. One of the ones Ruth and I were talking about last night was law firms. Law firms need call accounting. They also need call recording. We provide that within our solution. So you can adapt and focus your sales presentations and your business to those particular industry verticals. Healthcare is another one that needs mobility. They need nurse call systems, that type of thing. With Xorcom, again, you have that platform to build on those for particular industry verticals. Okay? So the unique selling points of Xorcom. It's a comprehensive business telephony solution with no per-user licensing fees. That's a big deal in certain parts of the market. You came from the Avaya background, right? So no user licensing fees can be a very, very big deal and very important, very cost-effective for the clients that you'll deal with. Simple management. Now, I'll turn my attention now to Asterix. In the world of Asterix a few years ago, it required that you have the skill set of Kurt to be able to utilize the command line to configure and manage the system. Now with Complete PBX, we've built a easy-to-use GUI interface to manage, to configure, and to control the Complete PBX interface. Effective communications, that platform, again, that foundation that we provide enables effective communications throughout an organization. So communications with things, your cellular phone, for example, now can be an extension to your ip-pbx using features like Find Me, Follow Me, that type of thing. Web chat within our GUI operator console. Presence, so you can see what others within the organization are doing, again, through our operator console. Fax integration, user integration through a GUI interface. All of these combine to make a true communications or unified communications platform. And that's one of the themes that I think you should think about when you talk or when you think about Xorcom, is a true unified communications platform. There's another bullet up here that says inbound. And the reason why this is up here is not specifically for call centers, but you know, over the years you encounter call centers that are traditional call centers, and then you encounter informal call centers. So the point here is that not every call is a call center, but also the features within the call center products, like basic queuing, like call recording, etc., can be utilized with other clients that don't think of themselves as a traditional call center. So just another part about the unique proposition behind selling Xorcom. Okay? We support very high densities, and again, we're going to get to some slides that talk about those high densities, so we'll save that comment there. Our AstroBanks are modular, very modular in nature and scalable, and you can't see it behind the board, not all of you anyway, but there are some AstroBanks up here. We have the modules laid out, so come up, take a look at them if you haven't seen them, but you can intermix PRI, FXS, FXO within the AstroBank line. And hot pluggable. You can add, for example, an FXO port, and it is hot pluggable in that it's plug and play. Is that the right terminology, Kurt? Plug and play, or is that?
Yeah, it's closer now than it ever was.
All right. All right. And then another really strong capability of Xorcom and the Asterix product line is simple integration with software applications. And I know Jeff Johnson will talk about this extensively. In fact, I'll probably leave the room when you talk about it because my ears still hurt from last time. But it's one of the strengths of the Complete PBX product line is integration. And this gets back to building a foundation product that can provide the vertical markets with the features, functions, and functionality that you need, whether it's integration with a CRM package or integration with any other vertical type package that may be out there. Okay? So let's jump into the ip-pbx product lines. We talked about 7 different lines, and here they are. starting at the top with our Enterprise CXE 4000. The recently announced, earlier this year, the Blue Steel, which again is up here in front of the room. And then the 3000 series, the XE series, and the XR series, 3000, 2000, of course, the entry-level CXR 1000. A couple things to point out here, and let's pick on the XR 1000. We do provide and publish, okay, the number of users here. So you can see that the 1000 supports 30 users. Number of analog ports, PRI ports. Of course, in the 1000, we do not support PRI. And then concurrent SIP calls. And just a little point of reference here. Barry and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago, but what we found is that many of the competition out there is publishing numbers that really represent concurrent SIP calls, whereas we have always traditionally represented the Xorcom product line with the number of TDM calls, right? The FXO and PRI calls, okay? That's obviously a very different calculation. So I'll show you on another slide where we have a little bit more depth of detail, if you will, on the concurrent calls. But it's a difference, and it's really skewed how people are looking at the Xorcom product line. Okay, so now we are publishing as well both the concurrent SIP calls as well as the traditional TDM calls. Okay, just to point that out for you. So these are our product lines. I did want to dig in a little bit more on the Blue Steel server, seeing it's the new entrant to the product line. I wanted to run through, and let me build out this slide. It's a little bit easier. Okay. All right. So the Blue Steel system over here, it features redundant hot swappable hot swappable RAID drives, right? Changeable from the front of the unit. As well, I think there's some nice features about these hot swappable drives built in. Number one, the LED. If a drive is to fail, the LED does have an a visible alarm or message. There's also an audible alarm within the system, as well as an email is sent to the administrator that notifies you that there is a problem with the disk drives. Those disk drives are in RAID 1, okay? So you can change them. As well, there are hot swappable power supplies, 2 of them, of course, in the rear of the unit. Internal backup and restore is standard. The LCD touch panel that you see on the front of that display provides information on network settings, or access to network settings, I should say. It provides status information on network information, the redundant power supply. It monitors that, and hardware status of the system overall. There's fan redundancy in this system. The people on the right-hand side of the room can see that there are 3 fans within the Blue Steel server. It also has a temperature control and monitoring system. So as it monitors the temperature when needed, those will turn on, if you will, in certain environments. Okay? And then it has an additional Ethernet port as well. Okay? This is a list of... Yes, sir?
Glossed over one topic there, which was...
Please help me.
The Blue Steel also includes redundant power for up to 4 astronauts as well, fully loaded. So if you're looking for...
Very important.
Power.
Very important. So let's go back to that. Yeah, this bullet right here. I apologize for that. So built-in redundant power for up to 4 astrobanks. So in cases where you needed a redundant power supply in the past, where you wanted that redundancy of the astrobanks, now this is built in to the Blue Steel server. In fact, in the rear of the unit are the ports for that redundant power. So thank you for pointing that out. This is a partial list of ip-pbx features. I won't go through them all. But these are the types of features that we provide for you with Complete PBX built into the system, okay? And it's many of the things that you would expect. And by the way, there's a web link down here. Incidentally, you'll get all of these presentations on a disk, on a key rather, at the end of this, at the end of the course. So you'll have access to all of this. But all of these features build into that platform I keep talking about, that foundation. You have all of these foundation features. They're built in. They're included with the product. You as a business owner or working for a small business can choose how you sell these products. You can choose to charge for them if you're in a traditional market, and you can get, you know, additional margin for having voicemail or call recording. You can do that as well. So, you know, these are the types of features, at least a short list of what you'll have built into the system. Okay, now I mentioned this and I referenced this a couple of times, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but again, you'll have this information in this presentation. For those of you who have our price list, there are tabs in that price list that have the hardware specifications, the software specifications, which we'll look at in a minute, as well as it's available on our website. So you have access, ready access to this. And I think this is one of the strengths of Xorcom. You know, we publish this information. We painstakingly go through this you know, type of analysis, so you have this available at your fingertips, as opposed to taking a hardware platform and a software product out there and hoping for the best. You have these published results out here. What I was referring to earlier was the maximum concurrent SIP-only calls and the maximum concurrent PRI and FXS calls. And you can see the differential. It's a large differential between the two. And that's what we had been fighting against, competitive products in the field. We also provide, you know, all sorts of information here about analog ports, your digital ports, Ethernet ports available on the system, your mass storage, with, you know, RAID supported, intelligent platform management interface, fan redundancy, all the way down to swappable the chassis. Matt?
In the case of the Max users, is that registered users or administrative users? The Max user, there's a top line there.
Oh,
right here? Oh, this.
Actually, it refers to extensions. Nothing to do with users in the traditional.
Well, yeah.
So it's a what you're talking about, it's a registered endpoint, right?
Could I make 100 extensions on the 30 box but only have 30 registered at any given time, or is it 30 administered?
In theory, yes, you could.
Okay.
By the way, for the benefit of our recording, the question was, does this figure, max capacity users, relate to registered users? And I mean, that's pretty much
You could create 100 extensions, but in theory, you should only be using up to 30 of them.
Programmed extensions versus registered extensions, I guess.
Okay. We're good? Okay. So let's talk about the Astra banks a little bit. And again, I'm going to build this out. So we mentioned earlier that one of the things that Xorcom is known for and receives accolades for is our USB 2 attached channel banks called our Astra banks. Okay. In theory, these USB 2 devices, the USB connection itself, can support up to 2,400 concurrent calls. So keep that in mind. We have calculations that support that as well. But these Astra banks can support up to 32 analog ports per chassis, and of course these chassis are stackable. That's very important in hospitality environments, healthcare environments, where you have copper lines, analog lines. They support a combination of FXS, FXO, PRI, T1E1, as well as BRI. The drivers are native in Asterisk, so they can be used with other Asterisk environments other than Xorcom. And we sell quite a few of them in that environment as well. They do have peripheral device support with the I/O port for access to opening door locks and things like that. So keep that in mind if you need the I/O port. We can explain more information. There's actually a great piece on our website about how that can be utilized and the different applications of it. They're supported by the redundant power supply or the Blue Steel server, which Kurt pointed out. And these units are all Twin Star ready. So they're integral to our Twin Star implementation, and we're going to talk about that just down the road here. And we'll talk about Twin Star. So Twin Star is our high availability solution. It is another thing that Xorcom has received quite a bit of praise for in the marketplace. It provides full redundancy for a complete PBX system, including the telephony interfaces. It provides quick and automatic failover. It keeps downtime to a minimum. Effectively, what we're talking about, as you can see here, is two systems, a primary and a redundant system. And in the event of failure of the primary system, for whatever reason, the controlling device here, which is the Astra bank, not shown on this, but there's a firmware-based switching mechanism, which is not network dependent, and that is included in the Astra bank. There needs to be an Astra bank in the Twin Star configuration. That failover happens very, very quickly. So those systems are synced automatically. If there are calls on the primary system, those calls would disconnect, but the failover happens within under a minute over to the redundant system. Okay? So that is TwinStar. And as I said, 2 Xorcom ip-pbx units with identical configurations is important, and the Xorcom Astrobank channel banks with dual USB ports are part of the requirements of TwinStar. We have a lot of TwinStars out in the field. It's really a great high redundancy solution. Let's talk a little bit about Complete PBX. I mean, this is what we're here to talk about, so I'm not going to belabor the point of Complete PBX, but we did just want to give you a little bit of background to Complete PBX. What is Complete PBX? Well, it's a comprehensive business telephony solution with no per-user licensing fees. And you know, what's the basis and the genesis of Complete PBX? Well, simple management, okay? It's that GUI interface again, and it's simple desktop call management, visual voicemail, browser-based administration. These are all built into the software solution for you. It's efficient communications. We haven't talked a lot about efficient communications, but you'll see as we progress through the course, the ability for inbound and outbound fax integrated into Complete PBX. We've talked a little bit about smartphone integration, the integration of your iPhone, your Droid devices, etc. That whole concept of unified communications. And I'm going to show you in a moment the operator console. Presence management, so you can see what others within the organization are doing, whether they're on the phone, who they're on the phone with, etc. And you can manage all of that through the user interface. Conference bridges, video calling, all supported within the standard environment. And then, of course, inbound and outbound call center, call recording, graphical call reporting, integrated chat, and unlimited auto attendance. All right? The user experience is enhanced with the Complete PBX interface. This is a launching pad. You see there are several buttons down at the bottom here, administrative extension, my switchboard, and call center statistics. What's important about, one of the key things that's important about Complete PBX is, again, when we talk about the asterisks per se, you know, there wasn't a managed way to interface with asterisks. With this, we provide, you have a message, Kurt. With this, are you doing that on your phone?
No, that's fine.
All right. With Complete PBX, we provide a streamlined endpoint manager through this GUI interface. It provides auto provisioning and configuration for over 150 phones. Advanced upgrade settings. No longer do you have to manage and struggle with these. They're managed within the system. The system allows a single point of access for upgrades, free upgrades, assuming you're under an active service agreement. Okay? And during the updates, the system keeps the old settings as well as applying the new settings in a managed type way. Okay? And there's a simple procedure for adding modules, whether those are purchase modules or customized modules. All right. The custom defined system provides 4 different user profiles that you can see down here in the bottom right-hand side of our slide, from super admin, admin, super user, and user. And those are authorization controlled profiles. So in general, what this slide is talking about is we provide proper access to proper users for the proper functions that they need to handle on the system. Okay? From a user perspective, the My Extension profile provides access to that user as authorized. Each user sees and manages only their own extension and provides access to all of these functions that you see here, from VMX locator to their settings for language, access to their voicemail through the GUI environment, access to their faxes, both inbound and outbound. Okay? It really is an effective enhancement to the user's productivity throughout the day. Now the user is truly managing their own environment and can set it up in a personal way to best utilize their skill sets. I talked about the operator console. I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but it's over here on the right-hand side of the page. You can see that, you know, in this area, these are defined user groups, if you will, within an organization. Each of those blocks represents a user or an extension on the system. This user right here and this one, as you can see, color-coded, are active on a call. So from a presence perspective, you can see what's going on within the organization. This is excellent for an admin receptionist type person. As well, on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see queues defined on your system, as well as conference bridges, all available on this screen. It's an excellent environment, and let's go to the next slide here. It's an excellent environment, this whole dashboard environment, for a quick status check to see who's free from a presence perspective, right? How long they've been on the call, who they're on the call with as well, if caller ID is available within there. It's also excellent in training mode. You can listen in, you can assist. The management can assist the caller if they're a new agent, a new employee, by a whisper kind of feature. They can also jump in on the call and assist that caller with the call if they're struggling with it. Okay? Okay. Let's talk a little bit, a couple slides on call center and statistics reporting. It's included, there's a light version that's included with the product, we'll show you that in a minute, and then there's a pro version. It's great for monitoring activity to improve efficiency of the organization and employees. And here's a breakdown of the light version versus the pro version. In essence, the light version is in effect user-based, and it provides that type of reporting information from answered calls, unanswered calls, service levels, charting, that type of thing. Whereas when you get into the pro version of the product, that's really more for what we talked about earlier as a traditional call center environment. It's really based more on the queue level. And I know, Kurt, there was at least one individual in the room who was asking about this. So I don't think we have a module on this, but we could take that offline and talk about the different reporting, or we
don't need it covered.
We don't touch it at all, right? Okay. But we'll make a footnote on that, and we can even do a WebEx afterward. Okay. Now we were talking about information on the products, and this is the software side of our specifications. A whole host of information that is available to you. Again, this is all reported on our website as well as in that price list I talked about. The one thing I wanted to point out here is when you do get into call center environments, we do provide ratings for that call center environment, okay? And that is highlighted down here, as you can see. So call center environments have with them different specifications, different needs and requirements, and as such, you'll have call recording. You'll have agents who are on calls for a longer period of time. There's effectively different requirements there. So that's what these ratings help you do relative to the different product lines. All right, let's talk briefly about Complete Concierge. I mentioned it a couple of times here. What Complete Concierge is effectively an interface between the ip-pbx and the property management system. It's a link between the two so that there is appropriate information shared between the two, and I'll show you what those interfaces are. It can provide call management interface, call accounting interface, and it basically, in this environment, when we talk about Complete Concierge, it's not just that software piece. It's the entire Complete PBX environment, meaning that we help hotels and hospitality leverage their existing environments, i.e., if they have existing analog wiring within the organization. Our Astrobanks, because we support FXS ports, can help them leverage that existing environment. It's one of the things that Xorcom, again, is known for, and we do a really nice job in that hospitality environment. Okay? We are certified with Micros as well as these other vendors under the Micros umbrella. There are actually different interfaces, protocols, if you will, within the PMS world, and there are many, many PMS environments out there. I will encourage you that you will encounter throughout your career multiple PMS vendors. There are literally hundreds of them. So if you encounter a PMS with an opportunity, doesn't appear on here, it's highly likely I would urge you to get with myself, with Ariel, and ask us if that interface is supported, and 9 times out of 10, it will be a supported interface. Okay? We're perfectly on time. Thank you, Kurt. The package interface, the types of things it supports, and incidentally, I must provide a disclaimer here. There's different protocols, as I just mentioned. Not all of these features are available in each of the protocols, so it is important that you have an active dialogue with your channel manager. But Integrated wake up between the ip-pbx, the complete PBX environment, and the PMS. The integrated browser-based operator panel we talked about. Front desk check-in, check-out, so that upon checkout, for example, the voicemails are cleared and the extension is now available for another register. Vacant applied to room upon checkout. The ability for hotel staff, cleaning staff, to report whether a room is available, whether it needs to be cleaned, whether there are problems in the room through an IVR interface. So all of these types of features are available within the complete PBX or complete concierge interface. Okay? 2 more slides and then we're going to start to get to some of the technical information. I wanted to run you through some of the sales benefits of Xorcom, and this is really more as a summary. Simple, pre-configured, works out of the box, save money and time. So what do we mean by that? Well, we're talking again about that integrated solution of hardware and software complete PBX. We do the heavy lifting for you to prepare that, to provide you with all of the ratings and specifications. So it's a supported system. It's ready in a variety of 7 different platforms for 7 different levels of user interface. Okay? Small, professional, industry standard 19-inch rack-ready devices, okay? It does support high levels of density, and we saw the specifications from the entry-level XR1000 product all the way up to the CXE4000. By the way, one thing I did neglect to mention when we were looking at those specifications, you may have noticed that we have, for example, in the XR line, we have an XR1000, and then we have a CXR1000. The difference between those two is the CXR denotes that that's a complete PBX model. Okay, so it comes standard with complete PBX, whereas the XR model is an elastics-based system. Okay, complete PBX, full support of the system, or the XR versions, or I should say, without the leading C, those would be the elastics versions of our products. Okay. Full telephony connectivity, that hybrid approach, so they can start, your clients can begin with the telephony interfaces that they're comfortable with now, and they can transition to SIP trunking, voice over IP trunking in time to gain the benefits of cost and better audio quality. But they can start with where they're at. You can build hybrid solutions. We do a really nice job of that. One of the key selling points of the Xorcom platform. Modular and scalable, we talked about that from a Astrobank perspective, and then connects to VoIP trunking. We support SIP trunks, we support AIX trunks, soft phones, mobile devices, etc., all supported within the platform. Okay? Support benefits, standard with the product, comes with a 12-month warranty, ongoing free software upgrades for future features, and of course the caveat there is it's for customers who are on active warranty or support contracts. Rapid recovery for backup and restore, built into the product and available. It's really a nice feature. We have clients who have used this for backup and restore, and clients who have used it in very creative ways. We have one client who has a large number of retail stores who use it as a way to distribute the appropriate configurations to those stores in a very efficient manner. Rather than having to configure each store, they use rapid recovery and deployed each of those stores based on the rapid recovery configuration. Redundant power supplies we've talked about for extra reliability. We do support RAID throughout some of our product line for additional resiliency and high availability, as well as redundant power supplies, which we talked about that in the Blue Steel and the 4000 series. Rapid tunneling for easy remote access. And then finally our full Twin Star when high availability is an absolute requirement. Okay? Are we good? Nobody's asleep yet? That's good. So now you're going to get woken up abruptly because I'm going to introduce